Everybody, and welcome back. My name is Kari, and today I am doing my October wrap-up. Again, because the first time didn't film. So, that's fun. Anyway, we are going to try to do this a little bit faster as well, because the first one was very long. I read 10 books in October. I am pretty proud of that. It was Abby themed, because Abby from Abbey of Pelennor has her birthday in October as well, and therefore I felt like I could read some more books that she had bought me, recommended me, I associated with her, etc. However, there were a couple that I did not. We're going to start with The Science of Breaking Bad, which was not necessarily her, but it was a library book. I wanted more context about substances and substance abuse, and I was hoping that The Science of Breaking Bad would give that to me. It did not. So that was unfortunate. It was an interesting book, but it did also solidify my desire never to watch the show, because it doesn't interest me. I gave that one 3 stars, because I do think you should probably have some sort of science knowledge to understand everything in the book. It's a quick read, they do a good job of breaking down the simple to the advanced, etc., but not necessarily what I was looking for. Next up, I read The Hollywood Spy by Susan Elia McNeill, which is number 10 in the Maggie Hope mystery, and this is set in Hollywood this time, clearly. I enjoyed seeing Maggie develop and kind of recover from everything she's been through in the first 9 books. I gave this one 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I already don't remember a lot of this, and I only read it 2 weeks ago. So this is definitely a good mystery series, it's just not necessarily going to stick with me for a long time. However, it's well written. I enjoy the research and seeing the different characters as they pop in and out. I did not read The Bombay Prince, but I did read The Widows of Malabar Hill and The Satpur Moonstone by Sujata Massey, which is the Praveen mystery series set in 1920s India. Praveen is the first woman attorney or woman lawyer in Bombay, and so she has access to places that men don't. I really enjoyed that. I loved the atmosphere, I loved the descriptions, I really enjoyed the twists and turns of this, and seeing a mystery set in India, quite frankly, because I haven't seen a lot of them. Maybe I've just missed them, but I thoroughly enjoyed these. I thought they were fantastic, and gave them either 4 or 5 stars. So I will be reading The Bombay Prince at Christmas when I get it back from my mom. I am currently reading The Count of Monte Cristo as I film this by Alexandre Dumas for my book club, which was meant to be done in October, but nobody finished it. I hadn't started it because I wasn't going to be at the October meeting, and then it turned into a 2-month book, so perfect, I could reread it for November. However, because I procrastinate, I have 2 weeks to read 1,065 pages. So far, really enjoying it. I've read it before and loved it. I think it's his best work, still do. More in November. The Queen's Governess by Karen Harper. I enjoyed. I gave it 3 stars. I think it was a bit superficial. It skipped a lot of years in Cat Ashley's life. Cat Ashley is the governess to Elizabeth I and becomes a confidant and trusted friend until she dies. I enjoyed it because it does have to do with somebody who is very prominent in Elizabeth's life, and Cat Ashley on her own is an interesting figure. I just wish there was more. The absolute worst book of the year is Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. The male characters, particularly the ones described as the villains, only think about raping women, so that's super fun. There's a 5-page rape scene in here. Not great. Buddy read this with Abby from Abbey of Pelennor, and both of us repeatedly said that we would not have gotten past page 200 if we hadn't been buddy reading it. There was a lot of moaning about the misogyny in this book. It is overall a treatise on cathedral building in the 1100s with a couple of characters and a lot of misogynistic men thrown in. Didn't love the misogynistic men. Don't need the reminder, quite frankly, and I just hated it. But the cathedral building was interesting. I do think that was too much. I think if you took out another 400 pages of this book, it would have been so much better. But as it is, it was fine, except that it absolutely was not. I gave it 2 stars, and that was being generous. So there's that. The best book of the month by far was Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is a love letter to language while taking down colonialism and imperialism. It is a fantasy book set in 1820s Oxford, the university in England, and follows, what is his name? Robin Swift, who is kidnapped, sort of, from Canton by a Brit who speaks Mandarin. Not Cantonese, very specific, because language is the magic system in this world. I loved the linguistic history, I loved the magic system, I adored this book. It is definitely slower, so don't go into this thinking you can finish it instantly, because it took me a solid 10 hours when it should have taken half that. However, it is worth every single minute you put into it. It is engrossing, engaging, funny, heartbreaking, and just overall amazing. So if you have not read this book, definitely go read it. I also read White Like Her by Gail Lukasik. Her story of race and racial passing. Her mom passed as a white woman for sounds like 40-50 plus years, from the 1940s until when she died. And after she died, Gail went on Genealogy Roadshow and told her mom's story and got help kind of unearthing more of her family. I think it was very interesting. I do think, well, I wanted more of what passing meant and her mom rather than what I got. And what I got was a perfectly valid memoir, right? It's about Gail and her figuring all of this out and what it means to her, and her realizing all of these things about herself that she didn't know because her mom had hidden that they had African heritage somewhere down the line. So I did really enjoy it. I think it did I don't know if it did a good job. I am white. But to me, it did a good job of discussing what it meant for Gail, who was in her 40s probably, I think, when she discovered this, to kind of come to grips with what it means to be biracial and all of that. And it's not necessarily that she came to grips with it, it doesn't sound like she came to any conclusion in the book, but a discussion was had, and I really enjoyed the discussions that were had in this book. I did only give it a 4-star, which is still a really good rating, because of the fact that I wanted more about some of the details than I got. And then the last two books are books 3 and 4 in the Skullduggery Pleasant series by Derek Landy. This series I've enjoyed from the start, and it was recommended to me by Abby. So you start the series following an 11-year-old girl who meets a skeleton detective in Ireland and adventures ensue. It's about all I can say right now without spoiling anything, but I really enjoy the characters, I enjoy the plots, and I'm enjoying that we are getting more of an overarching arc nowadays with these two books than we were in the first two. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the first two, and you kind of have to set it up for 14 plus books after that so that you can keep going, but I'm enjoying that we're getting less of a clean ending each time. So those are the 10 books I read in October. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments or questions, let me know down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!